Hey, what's going on? Les saluda Carlitos Way Graham on Instagram, spelled W-A-Y, by the way. También en facebook.com, diagonal DJROCKTONIK. And of course, you can find me on YouTube as Carlos Mendez on YouTube.com. Okay, so fue la segunda edición, the second edition of Los Dells, which takes place every year at Mauston. This is the second year in a row that it takes place, and I've had a chance to go to every single one so far. It's supposed to be pretty much, or trying to be, the biggest Latino live festival in the Midwest, music festival, I should say, in the Midwest and pretty much in the country. Trying to be kind of like a Latino Coachella. Now, I didn't cover every single thing that happened through the 2 days that it took place in early September. Here's some of what I lived through in Los Dells. Let's jump right into it.
With tremendous sights and sounds, the second edition of Los Dells took place in Mauston, Wisconsin on the first weekend of September of 2018. Upon my arrival, got a chance to immediately check out Zion and Lennox on Saturday. For the most part, they perform mostly newer stuff, but they really hooked me in with that Zundara, Zundara, you know what I'm talking about. Sexo con ropa. It was a great and energetic experience. About an hour-long set with a hype man and DJ. Afterward, my honey and I walked over to another stage where Mexican rockeros El Tri performed a rigorous and at times politically vulgar set. I have nothing against El Tri. I've seen them various times, and it's kind of like I've seen you enough. And it's 2018. I'm just didn't disappoint because Wisin y Yandel brought the energy up with a mix of new stuff and old stuff. It was a major upgrade from 2017 when we only saw Wisin. No disrespect, Wisin, but it was a definite highlight of night number one. I capped off the night with Flo-Rida. Much like El Tri, Flo-Rida was a last-minute replacement taking over for Cardi B. Now, I respect the musical ability of Flo-Rida, and it was a solid and energetic performance, but I almost felt like Flo-Rida was trying too hard to put on a good show. The actual performance felt like it dragged on. I seriously found myself asking, is this over yet? He jumped into the crowd way too many times, to the point where nobody was even reacting. I thought he was running for office as he kept holding up babies and kissing them. Again, it just felt like he laid it on way too thick. Just my opinion. On to Sunday, day number 2. The rains came and they came hard. I debated not even going. Arrived there around 3 p.m., had my poncho on, and I started off with Aterciopelados. Andrea Echeverri put on a great performance to a scarce crowd, unfortunately. In my opinion, it was one of the most underrated performances of the weekend. Sang a ton of her hits, and her show just flowed. It had a great flow. It was actually a ray of sunshine in a cloudy, rainy day. Afterward, I tried to catch some of Molotov, which started during the Aterciopelados performance. Unfortunately, a couple people ruined it for the rest of us. Some people were trying to sneak into the VIP area and the media area, and that just got security really angry. I couldn't get into the photo pit to take any snaps. Security cut us all off. That more or less ruined that performance for me. Nothing against Molotov. By this time, my shoes were destroyed as it was a muddy mess. The sun started coming out around this time as well, and it was time for Bad Bunny. You know, there's a reason Bad Bunny no longer works in a supermarket, and there's a reason why he's now on tour worldwide. The dude has talent, the dude is real, and the dude is raw. It was the most anticipated performance of the night, and he did not disappoint. High energy, tremendous stage presence. It was probably the best performance of the weekend. Considering the rain and everybody who stood out, it was worth it. Last but certainly not least, my honey wanted to see Victor Manuelle, and who am I to disappoint? He was the only salsero of the weekend. I had never seen him live, and he had his whole orchestra, which was awesome. He had his dancers, he freestyled over salsa, and sang a bunch of his hits. The dude delivered. I was pleasantly surprised. By the time he ended, I didn't get a chance to go check Banda M-S because my honey and I were kind of done. Our shoes were destroyed, we were completely wet, so I'll have to take people's word for it that it was awesome. I don't know. I went to Denny's and had coffee with my honey with great conversation. That was my weekend. That was DELLSFEST.
So there's a little bit of some of what I lived through in la segunda edición of Los Dells. Just a couple of things to point out here. Like I said, it wasn't every single thing that went on, but it was some of what I had a chance to live through. I was a little disappointed that a couple of the acts were canceled before the event took place, como lo que es Cardi B. Also, there was a couple other cancellations. We had to get the replacements, por supuesto, con El Tri and Flo-Rida. I know there were some people complaining about that. Also, there was some allegations of some parking lot issues on the last day on Sunday when it rained a lot. I personally had no issues, but I arrived at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I think some of the people who arrived there might have arrived a little bit later. I know right after I got there, they stopped letting people in. So I think that lesson learned there is to get to these concerts on time, especially when there's inclement weather. And again, I'm just speaking from my experience. Let me know what your experience is. Let me know what acts you'd like to see in next year's edition of Los Dells. I know I have my own personal list, which, by the way, I have a podcast I'm working on, which is going to be out really, really soon. That's going to go more in depth into the concert, its history, and maybe some future suggestions on who they can bring and some of their logistical issues that they are having because they have it at a kind of a remote place. Okay, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Search Carlitos Way Graham, spelled W-A-Y, of course, Carlitos Way Graham. Facebook.com/DJ-ROCKTONIK. Y también en YouTube, carlosmendezyoutube.com. Hasta la próxima. Les saludó Carlitos Way Graham. Peace.